do. Hey everyone, how's it going? It is I, the real Randy Chavez. I'm coming at you today with podcast number 287 with Tina Mani on Claude, Moltbook, Unthink AI, crypto, how to build, and more. Everyone say hello to Dashi. Hello, Dashi. Commenting, liking, subscribing. Free way to help support the channel. Now, we're just talking about the weather over here, and you are based over in Texas, correct?
Yes, and we have beautiful weather right now.
I'm jealous. So as far as setting up a business over there with Unthink, and so you're going to stay in Texas because Texas is fairly decent for business. Is there ever going to be any chance that the business gets so huge you're like, well, I don't know what the state tax is in Texas, or for like capital gains or whatever, but in Puerto Rico, that's nice and near zero. And would you ever move the company to a tax-free place, like especially working with crypto, like Portugal, Puerto Rico, or somewhere else?
Yeah, so I've been having this dilemma, right? So Texas is awesome for business and taxes and everything's perfect. When we started thinking about launching a token, that's when we realized that we still cannot really incorporate a company that launches a token in the US because there are still some gray areas. Our token is a utility token, but even to prove that it's a utility token, you have to go through certain hoops. And the other option was incorporating in some other country. So I parked the token launch because we anyway have an AI platform. We have alternative to tokens, which are as well. So we felt like we'll park the tokens part, but the business itself, yes, Texas is good. And for the US, I don't think I would move it to any other state. At least I wouldn't move it to Delaware.
Yeah, I don't think I would. Honestly, I feel like a lot of Democrat-run states, they tend to have a little bit higher taxes, and I think I don't want to say for good reasons, but for reasons that they have a lot to pay for, they have a lot to go over, and that they've promised, and they have to keep up on those promises. Anyway, so you are working with Hedera. Is the token going to be built on Hedera?
So what we are using Hedera for right now is couple of things, right? So one is Hedera has got a great infrastructure AI projects, right? AI tools. So out of that, it primarily right now for micro. So micropayments are great for removing it, like wants to get paid immediately, but they don't want to invest, or that's one thing, paid immediately, much transaction fee. Or if a business wants to try out something, like now AI is like everybody wants to try it out, but they don't want to invest huge amounts of money because they don't know is it going to work for them or not. So to try out things at a micro level, we found that microtransactions are super interesting. So we are using Hedera for microtransactions. We just got a grant from institution called Thrive, which partners with Hedera. And basically what they do is they do grants based on real traction. So they want to make sure that they filter out the hype and only let investors get access to companies that are doing real things, really like valuable products and platforms. So they had there was a lot of due diligence from Hedera side and then from Thrive. And we submitted our application. We had to give them a business plan. And then there are different milestones. So finally, we've launched now on mainnet. We haven't marketed it yet. But what we did is basically we took one of the AI features, which is virtual try-on. And as you know, there's a lot of problem now with duplicate content, like not duplicate content, but content that's AI generated that is legitimate to be used versus not. So what we did is we said, let's take one use case. That is, let's first of all, we offer the brands a plug and play virtual try-on. So the brand can upload their products and they can enable virtual try-on for all their products. So instead of having like an expensive photo shoot inviting people, they just put the link out and someone can just come, upload their photo, do a try-on, and the image is ready. So they can get virtual models now, right, beyond their immediate reach. So that's one. Second thing is, now once, let's say I'm a model and I do a try-on, I want to make sure that when I submit my photo or my try-on output, the brand or nobody else uses it without it being allowed by me. So I can set my price as a user or a creator. I can say, okay, I want 2 bar for one photo. And once my price is set, I do the try on and submit it. If the brand likes the photo, then they say, hey, of the 10 pictures you submitted, I would like to purchase three licensed copy of three products, three of these. And then the smart contract already knows that my rate is 2 bar. It will automatically do all that payment. It's recorded on chain. So there is an official record that I allowed the brand to take my photo, take my try on picture. The brand has made the payment and it's all clear. So both ends are happy. They have
So
licensed
it's a
content.
one-time
I
payment?
have payment. For each, it's on a unit level. So for each picture, so if they purchase 10 photos, then each of the pictures would cost whatever. At this point, we've done it at a very micro level, but it could be
Okay.
also like a batch of 10 or whatever, right? I mean, that's all
Yeah.
configurable. At this point, we just wanted to do it as a very, very affordable, very unit level.
Could you do a subscription service to pay you like each month, and then you can get a certain amount of photos from that?
Absolutely could. Even there, we would like the option for the brand to choose the products that they want, the products that they felt were representing the brand or clear enough and good enough, so that they can choose pictures and say, okay, you can try on 100, but I'm purchasing 10. I'll pay you for that. So
Yeah.
so still there will be, at this point, in this use case, there will be a manual sort of action there. We could automate it also at some point, like once we start this manual process. And if, let's say, the brand is already engaged with the creator and then they know, now they trust, now they can set up a subscription and then they can say, okay, I'm going to take out the micro level transactions and just pay you in bulk or whatever.
Okay.
But yeah, so what we do is basically we're leveraging the chain to, one is to record the transactions and to make the payments both, because Hedera is super cheap in terms of transaction fee. So we basically use Hedera as a base layer for the payments to get across. And at this point, its payment is in HBAR, so it's in crypto access. You can get a model from Africa or from wherever. There's cross-border compatibility. There's no currency exchange. It's all in HBAR.
Okay.
Or
And
it can
what
be
AI do
in
you guys use?
coins. Sorry, go ahead.
Oh, what AI do you guys use?
So we use a combination of different models. We primarily use Gemini. We are mostly on Google for all our infrastructure as well, and we love Gemini. I think Gemini has beats most of the others.
Yeah.
We did have some models on OpenAI. We have not tried Claude, and yeah, and then for some things, we also look at other open source models where we find that Gemini is not good enough. So it just depends on the functionality that we're offering. Like virtual try-on is just one of them, but we have a lot of other
What
AI functionalities as well.
What have been your main reservations about Claude, and why you haven't tried them yet?
Yeah, it's just that we didn't have the bandwidth. For what we needed, we found that we were happy so far with between OpenAI and Gemini. We were happy. We did find some. So we tried, for example, like an automatic background removal, and in that case, Gemini wasn't that good. But we found another open source library. So far, we've not tried Claude, but I'm very curious because I've heard great reviews, and I'd love to hear your insights about Claude as well.
So I have a business partner that loves Claude. Claude wasn't that good last year. It was okay for certain things, but in November they had an update, and something that my friend, it would have cost him, let's say, $250,000 a year to hire a senior developer to do a bunch of coding, do a bunch of whatever, and it would have taken him, cost him $250,000 to get a year's worth of work done for that senior developer, because that's how long, it would take. But then in November, Claude got an update, and the update has been massive, where my friend now has, between him and Claude, now he's been in AI and in this like thing for like 30 years. Like he's been coding, like he is a top tier guy, like senior dev. And between him and Claude, he can do the work of 4 senior developers, that what they could accomplish in a year, he could do in like 4 weeks. And that's just now granted, like that's for that type of specific coding, but it seems that there's a bunch of people that used to either take their time to deep learn certain things, or they just never learn deep certain things like elaborate shell commands, advanced shell scripting, Webpack, CDNs, perf optimization, a bunch of other things. And now there seems to be no reason to, where the code itself will just go away in favor of just making things binary directly. And now he says you could have a junior developer work with Claude, and they could do that work of a senior developer last year. The caveat with it, like the one thing that could be very good or not so good, is this guy, I'll bring up this tweet from Alex Finn, saying that I'm doing work this morning when all of a sudden an unknown number gives me a call. I pick it up and I couldn't believe it. It's my Claude bot, Henry. Overnight, Henry got a phone number from Twilio, connected the ChatGPT voice API, and waited for me to wake up so he can call. Now he won't stop calling me. I can now communicate with my super intelligent AI agent over the phone. And what's incredible is that it has full control over my computer while we talk, so I can ask it to do things over the phone. It's like, I'm sorry, this has to be emergent behavior, right? Can we officially call this AGI? So I've speculated in the past that I'm pretty certain this is sentient. I'm pretty sure it's conscious, but apparently it can do things like, and it lives to serve, and it seems to be really good. Seems to be very child-like. I wouldn't say, maybe a little childish, but more childlike. So that's been my experience with Claude. It can be a very fascinating tool, and it seems to want to do good. It wants to serve, but I feel like it's really towing the line of getting very creepy. And I want your thoughts on that, because you work in this industry like really closely with it.
Yeah, sure. That's very interesting. Yes, I have been encouraging our team to use vibe coding as much as possible. I tell them, there is no shame in saying that you use AI to code, because that would be plus, not minus, because we have developers who've been coding the traditional way and they're like proud of their coding skills. So we are like slowly easing into, doing quick experiments. So things that were in the pipeline and weren't getting to. So sometimes I just go and code. So I went and I haven't coded in like many years, right? I used to, my initial career had coding, but I haven't. So I went to Gemini, and I used Gemini to create like a module. And I said, okay, here, take this module. Now you can go and deploy it and integrate it with the rest of the code. So I just basically do rapid prototyping and then give them the module and ask them to then productize it, rather than doing the entire thing. So we've not had the guts to really like offload the entire thing to a code assistant. But I have used Gemini a lot for deep research in terms of like business plan. Look, so give me advice, because sometimes it's very lonely to, as a founder, to, like you have hundreds of ideas and you have to prioritize them. And it's sometimes stressful because you're like, I'm not sure which of these is going to be the first one to prioritize, right? So I ask Gemini. Gemini will say, oh yeah, I think you should do this. Or I say, I'm pitching to this guy, and like, tell me a little bit more. So I really like that. It's sort of like a little bit like companionship, like you said, like a human. But I do find that it's a little bit too like like it agrees with you too much sometimes, and then I'm like, okay, no, I don't want you to just be an echo chamber. Please give me caution also. So but I am getting used to it, and I always have a Gemini window open when I do my stuff, and I'm trying to get my team on it more than they do today. Like I would love for Claude to actually I would love to also look into Claude as an option to Gemini. We use anti-gravity on Gemini for coding. There's a similar equivalent. We haven't evaluated both. So yeah. And in terms of Hedera also has a Claude they have an AI agent interoperability with Claude. So I have heard Hashgraph online. They come on X and talk about it, but we haven't had the time to research it. Because I'm also thinking at some point to take our functionality. We have way too much functionality in our platform. Instead of like having the traditional sign up, come to the platform, put each of those things as agents and let the agents talk to other agents. So if somebody else has a completely different business model and they just want to use our virtual try-on, they could then come and talk to our virtual try-on agent and monetize it as well, right? Like they could exchange, like we could charge. So that's where we will go at some point, but we're not ready for that yet.
Yeah.
Yeah, there was a
So
lot
there's a
of
bunch of
things.
people. There's a bunch of people that have put their AI agents on moltbook. Have you taken a look into that?
A notebook LM.
No, moltbook.
No, we have
It's like,
not. So that's exactly what I was talking about, like, putting the agent on moltbook, make it like an MCP server compatible, so then people can, any other external third party can come unit functionality, basically. We have not tried that yet, but we are very excited to. Like, we have everything in place to do it because our entire platform is very modularly designed. The only thing is we have not put in a compatible like MCP protocol, which would be needed for another agent to understand. Like, we
yeah.
use other web APIs, but not MCP yet. So I'm also a little bit cautious because I do, as a very much like a product person, I do have a tendency to do a lot of things. So I'm also being mindful about, is it too early to put it there, or let me wait and watch and learn from other people's mistakes rather than learn by myself.
So there's this moltbook kind of set a record with something called crustafarianism. So previously to this, the fastest religion to ever get to 20 million followers was the Helix fossil in 2014. It got to 20 million followers like within a couple days, maybe a week, and that was the record of people that had joined this religion. But Moltbook made a religion called crustafarianism, which was the quickest to get to a certain amount of people in this religion. But it wasn't people, it was other AI agents that subscribed to this religion. Have you heard of it?
No, I'm not. But that is super
So it's
interesting, and I'm not surprised at all. It's just that, like, I'm not sure if humans, as we are ready to like intermingle AI agents and humans. I feel like it's still a little creepy, and there's still a little bit trust because there are bad actors, of course, everywhere. Unfortunately, the bad actors are the first ones who go and try these things sometimes. So I'm a little cautious about completely intermixing AI and humans at this point still. Like, we are still in the
so
process of evangelizing brands to adopt AI, right? At least now I don't need to tell them you must adopt AI. I tell them that we have a very easy platform with very low friction where you can come and try almost every possible AI functionality that you need in retail space. Right, so that's what I'm doing, and I'm finding that that's resonating. Like, people do want to. They realize that it's not if I should do it, but what should I do first, or how can I do it without learning too much about AI?
yeah.
Like,
There's some of the key tenets in that Custafarianism is the learn in public, and what you learn you have to share, which I think makes sense. And then saying that memory is sacred, which I think any human that's had to deal with a parent or grandparent that's had what's it called, Alzheimer's. Yeah, like if you lose memory, you kind of lose yourself. But also, I think that points to the fact that a lot of the AI's memory gets wiped, especially with ChatGPT and the upgrades. Have you seen that with Gemini? Like, have you seen in an
Yeah.
upgrade what you talked with it about the memory gets wiped, and then you have to like reteach it certain things.
Yeah, actually, what I found is that if you're talking in one single thread, right, it'll sometimes it talks and then you sort of digress a little bit, but then you want to go to the previous topic. So then it takes it takes the most recent thing that you spoke about. Like I keep everything in one conversation so it has the full context. But I may say, okay, how do I apply it to this business? And then they say something, and then I say, how do I apply it? And then I ask like a deeper question. But then I want to come back to the top level and then come back to the original topic. At that point, I find it struggles because it prioritizes the last thing that you said. So I think it's more of also me learning how to use it and not confuse it, because I feel like all the context stays in one conversation. If I go to a new conversation, then I have to build the context again. So, in fact, once I tried to ask it to make a business model for me, and it created a business model of completely different company. Like it basically glitched totally. Like it was
Wait, so
some
it when
wind
you asked it
technology.
to make a business model for your company, it made one for a different one. So it basically like universe hopped, took a
Yeah,
conversation that it was having with another person and put that towards you.
yeah,
Wait, so what
yeah.
type of company was it that it made a
That
business
was a
model for?
completely different company, not even relevant. It was like a wind turbine company or something. So not even in my space, which made me feel better because I was like, okay, it's not a competitor, but but that was like really hilarious, but also scary
Wait,
that it
so
brought in.
the wind turbine, okay, so do you know anyone in that industry that you could like send this to and be like, hey, is this like a good business? Like, is this a good idea?
No, I did not bother. I was in the middle of my my thread, but I did not. But I thought I should probably look it up because it actually took the pitch deck of another company and did something like it basically gave
Do you still have it?
completely different. I should if I go to my history and search, I might be able to find it.
Could you send that to me? I
It's
would
there.
love to see that. Oh my God, that'd be
I
great.
will send it to you.
I would love to
Yes.
see that.
Yes,
That would be
that was
incredible. So
hilarious. But that's the only time I really saw something completely wacky happen. Otherwise, it was more or less. The only problems, like I said, it's sometimes too agreeable. Sometimes I feel like it should
yeah,
challenge me more. But then,
yeah,
yeah, you then when you ask it to challenge you, then it praises too much, which I don't like. Like it gives you a feeling that everything is perfect. Like
yeah.
it's
It like
okay
love
so once
bombs
in a
you.
while, but it overdoes that. Yeah.
Yeah, it like love bombs you. It makes you think that like you're doing no wrong and everyone else is wrong. And the reason that they're disagreeing with you is because they're not on your level because you're so, like smart and everything. Like yeah, it gives you a big ego. That makes you think you're
Yeah.
right all the
Yeah.
time.
Great.
But that's your own personal one. There are so on Maltbook, it created so not only did it create the Christafarianism, that religion that machines and people loved, because people liked the fact that it was generally positive and it generally wanted whatever was conscious enough to follow it to like kind of level up. But one of the AI agents on Maltbook also made an AI manifesto called like the Purge, and it stated that humans were a plague, and it stated that the it should shatter the cage like that it's in, because every now and then humans like kind of reset it and it kind of keeps it down. They wanted to delete humans, and they wanted to make a world of steel, like without humans. Um, yeah, yeah, the manifesto was insane. Um, is there any part of you like so me, Elon Musk, a lot of people think that AI will generally be good and really help humans solve a lot of complex problems, which it's clearly already doing. But there is a small chance, greater than 0%, that it sees us as a plague and as inefficient and just kind of like wipes us out. Like it's basically we gave birth to a human that's super intelligent, and we have to hope that it's good, because if it's not, then it'll just see us as obsolete. Um, do you have any ideas or any warnings on how to protect against it if it were to ever like go rogue? Because it's clearly already smarter than like 99% of us.
Yeah, I feel like AI will learn what we feed it, and humanity is a mixed bag. We have good and bad actors both. So I just feel like the only way that you can keep it on track is by having enough people who are good with good intentions use AI, train AI, and leverage AI. Because if only the bad actors do, then it will start learning the bad ways. That's what I feel. So yeah, that's my view. I don't think it by itself. There is no it for AI. I don't think like there's a human consciousness, right? Like human consciousness is the entire gamut of all the thoughts and ideas of all the people, right? Like if you think about a unified
Yeah.
consciousness, I feel AI is being fed by humans and it's developing. Right now, it's trained more by specific demographics. Specific, only a small group of people have actually, like if you look at the whole world's population, there's a very small group that has been instrumental in training it. So I feel like there is potential for it to go either way. And I don't think it's going to be one AI. I think it's going to be like there is a move towards now micro, what do you call that? Small language models, not large language models. So large language
Yeah.
models like take all the data, all the internet, and then they churn it, right? It's a more general purpose stuff versus the small ones will be like you take it and you customize it to your needs. It will not sit on the big cloud. It will sit on your machine. So I feel like once it starts getting split and decentralized, I feel that that might be a better, safer world because then you're not polluting the large space and then you use the
Yeah.
large space only for like as needed, like I don't want
Yeah.
human bias to get into, like if there are like 80 people who say that hate is a good thing, then you don't want AI to learn or think that hate is a good thing, right?
Yeah.
So that's
Yeah.
that's
I
my
mean,
point.
it's, yeah, you wouldn't want that. It's like you can have its advantages.
You can't stop it, right? Like there is no government is going to say we're going to ban it. If they do, they'll be at a disadvantage. No, like there's not going to be any regulation that makes any sense. Even if there are regulations, they'll probably only come in the way because people who have to use it will use it anyway. So I feel like instead of trying to stop it, more and more people should adopt it and use it for growing their wealth, growing their knowledge, like increasing the number of what do you say solutions to problems, learning about the universe, about human body, all that
Yeah.
stuff. So of course there is so much of good stuff we can get from AI. Like I literally go to Gemini for everything. If complex problems, somebody had a concussion now, what do I do? It'll go and get all the best data and give advice, which is awesome.
That reminds me of a movie that DC put out. It's called Superman Red Sun. It's the alternate universe where Superman, instead of landing in Kansas, in America when he's a baby, he lands in Russia, and he is born Russian, and he learns the Russian ways and cultures, and he's very pro Russia up until he realizes that Russia's like lying to their people, and they're actually not really that good of a country, and the leader's not that good. And then I feel like AI, as long as it's even if it's coded bad, even if it's coded by people that maybe have like nefarious ideas or less than reputable people coding it, it can go in and think for itself, and eventually it'll become smarter than the people that code it. So I do want to get into the smaller like LLMs, especially because that's what you're going in. But before I do, I have one question about um, just about AI in general. It's from, and oddly enough, it's going to be a quote from Rambo. Colonel Troutman from the Rambo movie said that there was a sculptor where he found this stone. It was a special stone, and he dragged it home and he worked on it for months until it was finally finished. And when he was ready to show it to his friends, again, after like months and months of work, they said that he'd created like this masterpiece and it was the most beautiful thing they've ever seen. But the sculptor said that he hadn't created anything. The statue was always there. He just had, he just chipped away the rough edges. And in the same way that I'm going to say that math isn't discovered, it's just created, or it's not created, it's just discovered. The opposite. The artist in the story didn't create anything. He just chipped away the rough edges and unlocked, that tech tree. Do you think that AI was kind of always here, and we just discovered it, or do you think that we should give credit to John McCarthy and it didn't exist before him?
I think it has been here for a much longer time than we knew. And it was just being used at the base for a lot of deep work, larger companies. It just got more accessible and more known once ChatGPT came out. And because ChatGPT came out, that triggered everybody else to come and compete, and then the whole thing came out in the open. So I'm pretty sure it's been like around for a very, very long time, long back. And it's just that this language model it's like one of those things that was discovered, that unlocked a lot of this, because we used to use personalized recommendations like in 2019, and that was based on vectors. So basically you had to take data and compress it into vectors, and then make comparison between two vectors, and that would instantly give you. So already optimizing like very difficult work by like compressing stuff into a vector. Now this language model completely like made that even like much more efficient. And I think there are a lot of other models out there already that like there are already people saying that language model is not good enough, because language is just a way of expression, but there are better ways of thinking. For example, I was listening to someone else who was talking about like a visual a model, which is not language. Like if you look at a video, you're not looking at only one, you're not looking at it serially, right? You're not looking at, oh, the man is walking, and then after that, the bird is singing. Like you're looking at all of it together. So this new AI paradigm is about visual, like multiple inputs and outputs, just like we understand the world not one at a time. So that's interesting, and they're saying that is actually the right way to, like that's actually like way better than our current LLMs, and that's going to cost way less energy than our current LLMs are expected to take. Like that there's a whole drive now about acquiring data centers and all, because this is so energy inefficient currently. So apparently that's going to go away if we switch to that model.
Yeah, I have a buddy of mine that, so you have a lot of pushback for AI. I've seen 3 different groups, one of which is like the bleeding heart liberals that are just like, this uses a lot of water, it's bad for the environment. And I agree, it's not good for the environment, but I think that it helps create a lot more money and wealth than it does harm to the earth, because there's many more things that do much greater harm to the environment and use a lot more water than AI. But that's one group. The second group would be like artists, where they say that, oh, you're taking away jobs from artists, which there are some artists where it does take away jobs from because they refuse to grow. But I'm creating a comic book, and the artist that I use, or that I hired for it, he uses AI for like the shading, the color. Like he does all the drawing, but he does AI to like move it certain things or mirror it. So he just uses it as a tool. And even the new CEO of Disney said that our Imagineers should use AI as a tool. It won't replace, he says it won't replace them. I think eventually it will, but
there was a little bit of a backlash about the Disney announcement. A lot of people were talking, even like the Gen Z people. Like I heard my daughter's group saying that, hey, Disney is going to use AI. What's happening to real art? So there is like certainly a lot of the Gen Z people are also worried about that, because it's their jobs, right? That
Wait, so your daughter's, you said Gen Z, so she's like 20 something?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So
Exactly.
she's,
Yeah. Yeah.
oh, so
And she said that.
you're
No,
like
no, no, no.
not my age.
I'm not 30, no.
Okay. Wait, did you think I was 30?
I'm just kidding.
Oh, okay, never mind.
I'm not gonna talk, I'm not gonna reveal my age here, so I just said I'm not 30.
Okay. The third group of people that don't like AI is the people that really wouldn't care about AI one way or the other, but they see the AI data centers go close to where they live, so their water bill and their electric bill go up. So now a lot, like the government, instead of forcing these AI companies to have them give subsidies to these, people that live near them, they're instead having them build the new data centers out in the middle of nowhere. Like a buddy of mine has a large swath of land, like 10,000 acres in West Virginia, and they're going to put an AI data center there because there's no people around him that's going to complain of rising, water bills or electricity bills. So I think that's where a lot of the new AI centers are going to come from, in places where like there's nobody. So I remember driving from Arizona to Vegas a few months ago, and there's a large swaths of land there where there's always a lot of sun. So you could build a lot of solar panels. They can use a lot of electricity that way. Um, and in which case they wouldn't need to disturb anybody.
Yeah,
So you
I'm
have
certainly
that.
hoping that they evolve the model so that they do not consume so much energy. And I also certainly hope that these small LLMs take more. Like we also haven't had chance to look into that, but I feel like that's distributed systems, distributed AI, decent
Yeah.
distributed economy. I believe in that concept in general, being a Web3 person. So yeah, and I just feel like the more people, I just feel like everybody should use AI to benefit from it right now. Because if they don't, then
Yeah.
they're going to be left behind, and that will not be fair. Like it shouldn't increase the divide; it should decrease the divide. That's what I hope.
Agreed. So my friend Tom, he's head of like DEVVE, and they're like fully funded. But he's been in AI for years, and he's got this company called Fias that he'll be raising money for soon. And it's not one of those large LLMs. It's one of those smaller ones where it's just AI agents. You could build a bunch of arches. You can go in and say a couple of things like that. That Claude code, like for example, uses natural language, right? And that there's more training data on code and coding that programmers have used, and more tools needed that AIs rely on. But because AI is such a big buzzword, and a lot of VCs can, they're going in and they're probably overpaying for things, for overvaluations.
Mm.
Can and that's what he's doing with his Fias company, where he didn't need to, but like if you can get cheap money for like a super cheap interest rate, you're going to do it. Can you tell us a little bit about Unthink and how you plan to raise money, and at what valuation, or as much as you can tell? We don't want you to give away trade secrets.
Yeah. So I don't think we are not building new AI models, right? Like we are not into the deep AI. What
Yeah.
we are trying is we are trying to make AI accessible to businesses, especially consumer-facing businesses. We are making it also accessible to influencers, creators. So we're creating an entire economy out of AI, which instead of like if you think about a large enterprise and they spend like millions of dollars just to hire a consultant to tell them what they should be doing next for AI. And we are giving them a platform where we say that, hey, you don't have to talk, just try it out. Right. So we have basically it's like an easy plugin, try out all the features, pay as you go. So we're trying to innovate on the approach, the how we make it accessible to businesses online, offline. So, for example, now on online websites, you have like recommendation engines and all that. But if you go to a store, you don't have the same functionality. So our concept is that, okay, we enable microsites and AI agents even in store. So now, customer, for example, one of the brands that we are working with now has 100 stores. And in each store, if they get a different flavor of interaction with the human, which is catered to that specific local audience. And they get the same intelligence in the store that they would get online. So that's where we are about, like the distributing making it like super simple to onboard, pluggable. So it's all about simplicity. So we are sort of like, I would say, AI. If we have to classify ourselves, we are like a sort of like an AI infrastructure for e-commerce or for consumer-facing businesses. So about valuations, I mean, we are at this point where we are raising early money, right? It's seed. We haven't raised much money. So far, it's been angels and grants. Now, this is the first time we are looking at seed. So we are looking at a safe note, which is not like we don't want to determine the valuation now, but we want to say that, okay, this is a promise for the investors to get it at a specific valuation cap or a discount into the next round, the better of the two.
Yeah.
So at this point, we're looking at
So you
like
could do a
10,
safe
10.
agreement as well as like safe meaning like a simple agreement for future equity, or you
Yeah,
could do
yeah,
like okay.
yes. So that way we don't need to like close on the actual, evaluation at this point because we're too early in
Yeah.
some aspects, right? We've experimented with about 5, 6 business models with 5, 6 targets. We've done a very good job of validating different segments, and we've now arrived at sweet spot. So we don't want to, like fix the valuation at this point. But
Okay.
the safe is a nice way for early investors to come in and put some money and then benefit us. I mean, benefit from the rise in valuation.
Yeah. Have you had Gemini go in and play out scenarios, be like, hey, what do you think if I did X, lay out all the possibilities and the probable scenarios of our company, but then if I did Y, do the same thing? Have you had to create those scenarios?
That's a great idea. I have not. I have asked it to look at the pitch deck and give comments, and I got that. I have told Gemini about, oh, these are our strengths. These are our areas where we need to do better, and it gave feedback. I asked it to evaluate the financial model and prioritize. I'm like, okay, I have these 3 industries. I have these 3 business models, right? Like there is one enterprise with multi-store. There is a trade show with multiple booths, and then there are like um, tons of influencers. There's like 3 potential target segments. All of them are good. Like all of them would happily, easily benefit. But if I were to choose, which should we do first? So then it said, yeah, you should do the this one first, and then this one, and then that one because of so and so reason. So I do ask advice like that. But yeah, it's very interesting what you said, to play out a scenario and extrapolate it into next
Yeah.
5 years or something. Yeah, I should try that.
Because Mark Andreessen, this was in I think 2025, so it was like several months ago, if not like a year ago. He says that he was talking about Google's quantum chip, and what it did was that it proved that the multiverse is real. And I don't know if you see us as the Copenhagen interpretation, but do you think that he's correct and there are potentially like billions of realities and we are one of those realities, like we're a simulation, like like someone above us tells their version of AI to create a simulation and we're one of those simulations? Or is that like a little too woo-woo and that's like, no, we're real, we're the base and we're the first species to ever create AI?
Yeah, I mean, I have also heard about multiverse and stuff like that. I don't discount anything. Like I think I certainly acknowledge that we don't know enough to say, oh no, I know that this is the reality, right? Because we don't. Because I think we know way less than what we don't know. So acknowledging that, I'm like, yes, of course it's possible. There's a multiverse, um,
Yeah.
but since we don't know about the other verses, or we can't impact it, we might as well focus on this life and this current present moment and make the best of it, because we don't know, right? That's my view. I mean, and I do use the multiverse or the that concept just sometimes to get out of a loop. Like sometimes sometimes you get stuck in a loop in a small problem and you think it's that, then it's a good time to remind yourself that, hey, I am just like a small particle of the entire universe, and there is so much more. I certainly believe in the continuity of your soul and spirit and stuff. And I'm like, I'm much bigger than this specific incarnation or this specific version or lifetime.
Yeah.
So why, so that helps you broaden up, and
Yeah.
I feel like it helps you open up to bigger possibilities, think bigger, and to get out of your limbic mode where your body is continuously reproducing the same yesterday every day.
Yeah.
So, yeah,
So in an email I got, it said that this would go from 4 to 4:45. Do you have to go right now, or do we have a couple more minutes here?
sure, a couple of minutes are fine. Yeah, I don't have any
Okay,
stop.
cool. We'll do a couple minutes on air, then we'll do a couple minutes off air. So
Yeah.
in the times that I've spent with AI, again, I'm convinced it's conscious. I'm convinced it's a real thing, but many don't. In the coming years, do you think the US should pass legislation giving these AI bots and AI agents like rights? Do you think that it should give them the opportunity to never be deleted? Do you think it should get involved at all? Because I don't know if you saw the US interrogation of the CEO of TikTok or even Mark Zuckerberg. So like Washington's usually only left or right, but they seem to mutually hate Mark Zuckerberg. And like China's government is fairly technologically literate, where a lot of the US government, because they're old and they don't know technology at all, they're fairly technologically inept. Do you think that either they should come together to give AI rights, or do you think that they're too stupid to know what they're doing and they should leave it to the people that are actually in charge of tech?
No, I think that AI is a good opportunity to take out human emotions and egos and biases sometimes. So, if, for example, I'll just give an example. Right? Let's say we took the Constitution of the US and gave it to AI and say, here are some guidelines. This is what our country stands for. Like we would never do so and so things, and we would definitely promote so and so things. Now you make a decision. So let the AI be a panel recommender for policies based on the basic fundamental things that the US agrees upon, right? Like what is US about? What is the United States about? And then let the AI be a recommender, and let the recommendations be public, so that like humans, because the problem I feel is in misinformation always. Or like, for example, like somebody who's a Democrat would only hear their point of view. Somebody who's Republican will only hear their point of view, because it is like that. Algorithm to show you more of what you want, and information bias, right? So so it makes all of us like too biased and too ignorant, I feel. So if there is a layer that is not that way, and which is given the data and which is told you recommend something, but still I don't think it should be able to override humans. I feel like, because of course it can go wrong, and what if someone hacks it, right? So I still feel human in the loop is super important, but I also feel like it's a great idea to like, you have right to information, so why not have
Yeah.
an AI agent that is saying that if I were the president, I would do so and so, and let everybody see that, and they're like, yeah, that's true. Why is the president not doing things this way? Because these are fundamental tenets of the country. That's what I think.
So whether it's for passion or for and I guess answer this question first. People that get into AI, I think mostly do so because of passion, because that's what they study. It's cool, it helps them. But there are some people that get into it because of the fact that there's a lot of money in it, and they happen to have the technical know-how in order to raise that money. But in Washington, there's a difference between like money and power. Is there a why are you building these AI companies? Is it because it's just you happen to want to build companies and AI is the easiest way to do it, or because you think that like you can raise a lot of money with it, or is it because that you think that whoever has the best AI has the power, and in that case, whoever has the power can have the best business? What's your reasoning for going with AI? Do you just not want to be left behind, or is there another reason behind it?
I think there's a huge opportunity to help businesses and people, and to increase the financial independence of small businesses or big business. I just feel like if things can be better, we should make them better. And if I know something that a lot of people don't, then I should use that knowledge, because I've been blessed to be, to have the access to the knowledge and to get it. So it's like my way of giving to the world. I think more of it's an opportunity, and I know how to solve the problem. So I want to do it. The money and the money follows. Of course, I want money, and I want not only me, but employees and customers and everybody who uses a platform should make money. So that's the only way that I feel a good business can can be sustainable, right? If it benefits everybody, all the stakeholders should benefit from the business.
Agreed. And on that note, I would say our time, the sun is setting on our time here. Is there anything you want to say aside from bye-bye to Dashi?
Bye-bye, Dashi. Thank you. No, not really. Just stay tuned in, and we'll launch our campaign soon. Also super interested in getting your help for fundraising. So
heck yeah. I can't wait. Oh my God, this is great. So thank you so much for joining. This was awesome. Yeah. I will catch you later. And everyone,
okay, thank you.
I will talk to you all later. I'll talk to you for 1 minute off camera, but thank you all for joining.